Hello, Rare Elvis Photos. Hope you're having a wonderful week and you had a wonderful weekend, depending on when you're watching this video. Let's talk about Elvis on June 10th of 1955. He performed at the American Legion Hall in Breckenridge, Texas at 8 p.m., singing That's Alright, I Don't Care If the Sun Don't Shine, Tweedledee, Blue Moon of Kentucky. Other acts were Oni Wheeler, Fonda Wallace, Dee Don, and Dean Beard, Ben and Dina Hall, and Weldon Myrick. Anybody know who those are? I don't. 1956, in Shreveport, Louisiana, KJOE DJ Vern Stearman convinced his station manager to fly the station's single-engine airplane over the city that afternoon of June 10th so Stearman could drop 50 Presley dog tags from the air. According to Billboard's June Bundy, it was a merchandising gimmick to promote the release of the new Three Teens record Dear 533-10761, which is Elvis's Army serial number. Interesting. People finding the tags were directed to take them to Stan's record shop, where they would receive free copies of the new Elvis tribute record. Now that's interesting that they say that's 1956 in the historical data that I'm reading right now, because Elvis was not, that's funny. So Elvis was not in the Army until 59. So I guess that record, the Three Teens, I need to look into that and see when it was released, because maybe that's an interesting coincidence. Elvis also performed at the rodeo grounds in Tucson, Arizona at 8:30 p.m. and he sang Blue Suede Shoes and Heartbreak Hotel. 1957, the Elvis movie Loving You premiered in Memphis at the Strand Theater. In 58, he was working on Jailhouse Rock. And RCA released the Hard-Headed Woman single from the King Creole soundtrack in both 78 RPM and 45 RPM formats. In 1958, it went to number 2 for 2 weeks on the R&B chart. It became the first rock and roll single to earn the RIAA designation of gold record. Now, after 2 years of refusal, Elvis went recording again in Nashville at RCA Studio B, dressed in uniform. He recorded 5 up-tempo songs from 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. Elvis was very enthusiastic about the musicians. This was his last recording session until his March 1960th discharge from the U.S. Army. So that's very interesting. So Elvis was at Graceland for 2 weeks of leave, May 31st to June 13th, and 59 and 60 military service in Germany on this date. Well, actually, he was on leave in 59, but 60 he was in Germany. GI Blues was being recorded and taped in 1962. Then you got Girls, Girls, Girls post-production in 1964 on this date. So June 10th of the next reported year, Elvis reported to radio recorders at 7 p.m. to begin the soundtrack recordings for Girl Happy, and he worked until 3 a.m. 1965, you got Frankie and Johnny. 1966, the Elvis Presley single Long-Legged Girl, peaked at number 63 in the U.S. after 6 weeks on the Billboard Hot 100. Now, as big as an Elvis fan as I am, for whatever reason, I can't recollect that song. That's probably from a movie soundtrack, and I'm not a huge fan of, and neither was Elvis, of his movie songs. He had some good ones here and there, but anyways, RCA released the soundtrack album Paradise Hawaiian Style. If Long-Legged Girl is anybody's favorite song out there, let me know. Or if it's in your top 10 or your top 20. 1967, with Elvis behind the wheel of the Greyhound, the entourage, including the wives, left for California. In 1968, Elvis, he continued with his rehearsals at the Binder Howe Productions office throughout the week and the weekend. 1969, you got to Elvis Presley. Yeah, that's who we're talking about, obviously. Mr. Presley. Charlie, Gigi, and Lamar flew from Memphis to Las Vegas to view the construction of the new showroom. The showroom, Elvis continued on to Los Angeles after that for wardrobe fittings for the opening night in Las Vegas. He chatted it with Tom Jones also that evening at the Flamingo Hotel in Las Vegas. 1971, back in the studio for a final recording, Elvis performed My Way and I'll Be Home on Christmas Day, but at 4:30, Elvis ran out of the studio in frustration due to the inattention of the background singers. Now, I'm wondering who kind of shared that story. 1972, the album Elvis Now hit number 12 in the UK. Unlike other Elvis albums, Elvis Now encompasses a variety of genres, including country, gospel, soul, and pop. The album was certified gold on March 27th, 1992 by the RIAA and reissued by FTD in 2010 as an extended CD set. The Elvis Presley album Rock and Roll hit number 34 in UK. The album was a reissue of Rock and Roll number 1. Now, Elvis performed at Madison Square Garden at 2:30 and 8:30, where RCA recorded both shows. Both times the crowd was 20,000. Elvis wore the wheat suit with the fireworks and belt, and at 8:30 Elvis wore the eyelet suit with a lion head belt and cape, and that was 1972. Now, in 1973, Elvis attended screenings at either the Memphian or Crosstown almost every night of the month until he had to go back on tour on the 20th. That was one of his great escapes, as us Elvis fans know. 1975, Elvis performed at the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis, Tennessee at 8:30 p.m. The crowd was 12,367, and Elvis wore the Chief suit with the original belt. That concert date of June 10th, 1975. Here is a little review of the concert by Joseph Wheeler. Elvis clowns and brings thrills to a full house by the commercial appeal. So they wrote this on the 11th, obviously, because the show was on the 10th. Elvis Presley proved himself not only the king of rock and roll last night, but also a first-rate clown as he toyed for more than an hour with a capacity crowd. Returning to Memphis for the second time in 18 months, Presley sauntered on the stage to the screams and to the thousands of voices, the screams that have marked his career for more than 20 years. After striking a dozen sultry poses and twisting his pelvis for the fans, he went tilt into a show, mixing some of his oldest hits like Hound Dog with songs from his new album, Elvis Today. It didn't seem to matter what he sang. The audience went wild every single time he moved, and he made it clear that he knew he was turning them on. Throughout the show, he played the part of a sensuous clown to the girls in the front rows, throwing his scarves and bending down to kiss them. Then he would quickly turn back to the balcony area behind him, and the screams would pour down again. His clowning was curtailed about halfway through the show when he bent once, often too often, to the hometown girls and split the pants of his white suit, which was decorated with Indian-style trimmed. Of all places, of all places in the world to split my pants, it would be in my hometown. Is it bad, he said, as he turned around to the band behind him. He was assured that it wasn't bad, but stood knock-kneed, facing the audience of about 12,000 for a few moments. But that didn't slow his singing pace, because he broke into a quick series of oldies that brought him from his fame. That doesn't seem like it's written right. Throughout the show, singing seemed to come second, as he frequently interrupted his songs to wiggle for his fans who were flash cubing all the cameras. He also performed a concert on June 11th of 1975, and Henry Bailey gave this reviews. A little puffier and a lot more talkative, but it was the essential Elvis Presley, the gyrating singing genius. The Sunday Times of London listed in 1970 as one of the shapers of the century, who held forth a capacity crowd at the Mid-South Coliseum. "We love you, Elvis," was the shrill feminine cry heard from more than once, perhaps closer to several hundred times, among the 12,367 well-scrubbed, screaming fans, friends, and curious who greeted Whitehaven's most famous homeowner. Whoever said life begins at 40 is right in Elvis's case. His steady pulse on the lifeblood of America's popular musical taste continues unabated for 20 eventful years. It was Elvis who, if not the inventor of rock and roll, was the energizer who made it something highbrow critics and pundits could criticize but no longer ignore. Anyhow, the fans had a lot of great things, like "You just can't deny a man who managed to stay as long as he has," says Corky Curl of Kansas City, who arrived with a friend. "He is wonderful, and I listen to everything. I listen to acid rock, hard rock, but Elvis, he was the first rock with style, the first to give audiences something to look forward to. He's kept his nose clean, so more power to him," said Fransoli, who bought 9 other tickets, $10 tickets for him, his wife, and 8 friends. Not unlike many others, he had seen one of Elvis's 5 Memphis concerts last March, and couldn't miss up another. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, hit all notifications, share it with your friends, share it to other Elvis pages. TCB TLC. Until next time, this is Rare Elvis Photos.